I'm Jennifer, and in today's video, I'm teaching you about a specific way that I like to adjust specific colors within Lightroom when I'm editing a wedding gallery or a family session or a senior session, or really any other thing that I'm working to edit. So we're gonna jump right into the behind the scenes of Lightroom. That way you can see how I adjust specific colors within Lightroom. So we are right here in Lightroom now, and I'm going to show you how I adjust specific colors within photographs. Now, the photo that you see right here, I've actually already pretty much edited already for how I like it to be in my style, but I'm just gonna quickly show how I would continue to make adjustments just with colors if I wanted to do so. So I'm going to scroll down to a specific tab. It is the color mixer tab right here. So like you see it like opening and closing. So the color mixer tab is basically a place where you have like all these major colors, but within all these major colors, let's just start with like red. You have hue, and I'm just gonna show you. It's like we can literally change the hue on Berthier's suit. So that's really cool. I'm gonna keep it the same. And then you can also reduce the saturation. You can up the saturation of that particular color. And changing the hue is basically just like changing, it's like literally changing the hue of the color. So it's like within red, there's all these ranges within red, and so you can change that. And then again, yeah, saturation, you can make it more saturated, less saturated. And then the luminance, you can make the luminance darker or you can make it brighter. That's kind of what luminance is. So there's really like all these adjustments you can make. So you're like, oh, I want it to be like bright like that, and then I want it to be like down like that, and then I want it to be like super saturated, you know, or super not saturated. You can make these adjustments to change, literally change the colors, and I don't want to actually make these changes, I'm just showing you how to do it. So you can do these for like any one of these colors, which is really cool. Thank you so much for taking the time today to watch this video. If you like the content in this video, then go ahead and just give this video a like. That just helps us in our channel and just tells us that you like this content and want to see more. And if you'd like to, please subscribe to our channel. That way you can always know when we have more content coming out for you to learn from. So I know you are anxious to continue learning about this special tool in Lightroom. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right back into learning about how to adjust specific colors in Lightroom. I like to sometimes use the saturation of the oranges, so like if her skin is like way too orange, then I like to bring her skin tones down. You can like take it out, but if you do too much, it'll look weird. But you can easily adjust like skin tones like this. You can also make her brighter. That's actually really cool. But again, I try to keep the skin tones as much like what they actually are, so we don't want to change it too much, but sometimes just a little bit is good. You can also change the hue of the yellows, which I found that changing the hue of the yellows can actually change the hue of the greens. So like you want the greens to be like super like minty bright green, then you can actually bring up the hue of the yellows to do that, which I think is super cool. Or if you like to edit with yellows, then you can have yellow. So that's kind of how that works. And you can also, if you don't like yellows, you want to take it out, you can take out the yellows right here entirely, like that. Or you can add in more saturated yellows and make it look really bright and saturated. And then you can darken the yellows and you can brighten the yellows. Again, just so many different things you can do with this. It's crazy. If we go over to greens, you can make greens look even more green. You can make them kind of like a, I don't know, like a muddy yellowish green, I guess. And then you can change the saturation of the greens, which is cool. Can work for like fine art stuff. You want to reduce saturation. Then again, the luminance, making it really dark, or you can make it bright, depending on your lighting area, or more like true to color natural stuff. And there's like this light blue color that I think it's like adjusting like the roof or something. That's like a super particular adjustment though. I don't use it that much sometimes, but this is like saturating some light blues. You can change the luminance like that. And then also, this is cool. You can change the blue to like purple. That's pretty funny. Look at that. Or like tealish green. So you can make like all these adjustments, which is really cool. And so like I like sometimes like if the sky's too blue or something, or if there's too much blue, you can totally take out the blue. Or if you like the blue, you can leave the blue in, you know. Luminance, look at that. You can make the roof super blue. Then purple. There's only a little bit of purple in this image. There's like some purple in the lavender, so I think it's changing that, but it's very minor. You can reduce the saturation of purples. Again, very minor in this image, apparently not much in the image, which sometimes happens. Sometimes there's not much of a hue, but you can see that's changing the lavender in the background a little bit. And if we go to pink, That's kind of changing your soup color, like kind of crazily. And then saturation, just got some pink in there. And luminance again, darker bright. Again, just so many things you can do. And then there's this tab here too. I think it's just like, it's just basically just seeing all of them at once. So that's another view you could choose to do. Looks like there's also this magenta tab, which is kind of cool. So you can just kind of see all these different tabs, which is pretty cool that you can like make all these changes to it. So that's really the color mixer tab. And what I wanted to show you, I normally just look at each one individually at times, otherwise it's like too much to look at. But that's a really great way that you can make adjustments to specific colors within your images just in one spot in Lightroom. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial today. It's definitely a feature in Lightroom that I love using, and it helps me so much when editing my images. If a color isn't right, I can easily change it, and I love being able to make that simple adjustment for my couples. Now, color accuracy is really important and can be helped by having the correct white balance when you're actually photographing, like in camera. Making sure that your white balance is correct in camera when you're actually taking the photograph, whenever you're shooting, is going to be huge when it comes to editing your photos consistently in post-production. I think it's a game changer for most photographers. When photographers go from auto mode to Kelvin white balance, it changes the consistency and the overall look of the images hugely. And so I think it's really important to understand how to custom Kelvin white balance your photos when you're actually taking the photo. So if you're interested about learning to do that on the Canon R6 Mark II, then that video is going to be next.